In this video I'm going to show you how to fold Clover Folding by Shuzo Fujimoto, and because there's lots of creases on here, I'm just going to show you a smaller one where you can more easily see the structure, which is you have squares upon squares, and just follow the video and hopefully you'll achieve a similar result. We're going to start with the color side up and crease the main diagonal. And unfold. Then crease the other diagonal. And unfold. Then bring the corner to the center where the two previous creases meet and crease. All of these creases need to be very strong. Then the next one. And the next one. And the last one. And unfold. Then bring the point to this new crease and then align this crease with that crease. Like so. And bring this new edge to again align this crease. Then take this upper edge and also align it with the center. And make a strong crease. Then unfold everything and repeat on the other three sides. First bring in the small corner, then fold up so that the quarter meets the center and the new edge meets the center, always making very sharp creases. And that edge also meets the center. And unfold. And the third time. Unfold, and one final time. And unfold. Next, we're going to fold a grid that's 16 by 16. So fold edge to edge, crease, and unfold. Then bring the edge to the crease you just created. Again, crease, bring the new edge to the center again. And one more time. Just be careful that the paper doesn't drift when you fold these. And then crease very strongly because there's several layers of paper. And unfold. Now do the same thing on the other side. And unfold. Then rotate and repeat the steps. Unfold and then fold 16ths. Same thing on the other side. And unfold everything. Now your grid is done and we can turn the paper over. Now we want to start collapsing the model. For this we need the following creases. First of all, we're going to concentrate on this central square where there's 4 small squares from the 16 by 16 grid, and those should be valley folds. Just to make the collapse step easier, let's make those into valley folds. You're going to have 2 squares left of it, then the 2 central squares, and then 2 squares right of it that you want to make into valley folds, very sharp valley folds, which you can see here as this crease line. And you just do those very sharply so that you get a very nice finish for the model. Next, you want to have mountain folds up until where you did your valley folds. So just pinch those. That's 1 left of the center and 1 right of the center on each side, or rather 1 above and 1 below the center. That's so that the central square of the clover folding is in the center of the paper. If you want to have it off center, then you can of course move this whole folding sequence a bit to the left or to the right, or up or down. Right, so we've got those pinched, and then you can make valley folds in between by just bringing those two mountain folds together a bit. And the basic idea on this collapsing step, I should mention first probably, is that you have this square and you have the diagonals on that square. So you have small triangles like this one. And what we want to do is we want to fold this adjoining triangle on top of that one. And then this is going to be another triangle that lies on top of that one. So you pinch the mountain folds and bring them together a bit, and you want these to be mountain folds. And right where basically one of those squares that consists of 4 very small squares, where that stops, you want to have a diagonal that connects to the next mountain fold. So just pinch that so it's in place, and let's not worry about the next one, and pinch on this side too. So that's going to be across the diagonal of 2 small squares. So then you've got that. You pinch it together, and you already did a strong valley fold here, so it's going to start wanting to collapse down, and that's good. So once you're there, go over to the next one, and again pinch the mountain folds, pinch that diagonal that connects to the next one, and you might have to push in that central square here, just pushing it down a bit to make that valley fold go, and then do the next one. Pinching the mountains, pinching this one, and pushing that square in a bit, and the next one. Like so. The first collapsing step is the hardest one, the other ones are easier, but you want to get this one really precise, because that really determines how precisely you can fold afterwards. So now you have this, and we already did sharp valley folds that were next to that central square. So you want to push those in, just to make them go inside again. You shouldn't have to do too much because you creased them nicely. And then you should see that these small squares that we want to collapse into the middle, they pop up with mountain folds. But if they don't, you just go in the back and then you push up a bit like this one. Just push up a bit until you have a nice mountain fold, and this one for me too. Right. And then you just bring everything together, just pushing it together, and you then take your fingers on these diagonals and you push together like so. And you push together on the other side too. And then you can flatten it down. You can flatten it down. And then you have something like this. And you can open these valley folds again, like so, and push flat. And the one on the next side, and push flat, and the next one, and the last one, and then you can turn over. Just flattening a bit more, and you will see that you have this square popping up right here. There's a lot of creases here, so you might not be able to tell as well, but here you can see it's emerged right there. And that's the first square in the middle. Now we want to do the next 4 squares, one here, one here, one here, and one here. And for that, you first look at one of these strips, and you have kind of a roof, and then there comes a house, which is basically, you have 4 of these small grid squares, and then that triangle in the top. And what I want you to do is concentrate on that, and we're basically going to make a water bomb base from that square right there. So the square ends here, so we're going to open the paper, and then right where that those 4 squares stop, you're going to pinch the diagonal. Same thing on the other side. Pinch the diagonal and make this a mountain fold right there. So now you can see your house shape. And then, like when folding a water bomb base, you're going to go along the diagonals, pushing in the inside and flattening down, like so. So it's like an open sink or like a water bomb base, however you want to view it. And then you need to flatten down the 2 sides, and do that on the next side. Pinch the diagonals and flatten down. You always want to work relatively precisely, which I have to admit I'm not doing in these videos because of time constraints. But if you tweak your folds and ensure that you always go along the grid lines, then it will make such a big difference to the final result. So you're really not creating any new creases, just always going along the pre-creasing, which is why the pre-creasing should be relatively strong and hopefully quite precise, because then it makes it much easier to get all the folds neatly into place when collapsing. Right, so now you've done those 4, and next we have to finish the squares. So let's open one of these strips that we created, and you can see that here we have 4 small squares, and this it consists of 4 triangles again, and we want to cover all 4 triangles of that square. And you can see that this area covers one triangle, and this one covers another area, another triangle area. So we still need to cover this triangle area and that triangle area. So for that we need to make a similar sequence as before. So we're going to have mountain folds following up on that triangle, and you'll have this triangle covering that, and then having another triangle next to it. So you pinch the mountains. There are going to be only 2 of those small squares long. And then you're going to go across again to connect to the next mountain fold, as in the first collapsing step. And then you can see that this looks quite similar to the sequence before. You again have valley folds here and there, right on the edges of those triangles. Then you have triangles popping up in mountain folds, and then again small diagonals. And you push together, and then push inwards, like push inwards as before. It's very, very much the same as before, except that it's a bit easier. And then open up again. And then you can see that you've got these strips again. If you make more than 3 levels, then this will be a longer strip. But you've again got this triangle in the top, and then 2 squares wide a strip. And then you go on to the next one, opening it up, making the mountain folds, going across, again making the mountain folds, and then starting to collapse. Just trying to go along the creases that exist, and always remembering what you want to achieve, and then checking the location of the creases that you're making. And sometimes you have to push from the back of the model to get all the mountain folds to pop up really nicely. And you should get the hang of it after a while. Always have the same basic idea behind it. But that's what tessellations are all about. You repeat the steps over and over, and by doing that you create a very interesting pattern that covers the whole surface. I know I'm not folding very precisely here, but I think the result will look okay. And well, as I said, especially if you want to do several more levels, you should try to not work quite as quickly and crudely as I do right now. But you probably don't want to stay here an hour to watch me do very precise folds. Right, so we did all 4 sides like that, and when you turn it over, and you can see you've got your first square, and then you've got the next ones on top. It's very hard to see because of all the creases I did before, but when you look at the finished model, then you know that there's 1 square popping up here, and then squares popping up here and there. So now let's finish the model, which isn't too hard. For that, we're going to collapse these small houses. So we're going to have to push in along this edge and that edge so that you'll have valley folds like so. And I'm just going to open this up a bit and then push up so that you have valley folds right there and there, and you see that this will probably automatically pop up in mountain folds. And then you can push this down like so, and then open this up like so, and squash down like so. So one more time, open this up a bit by making a mountain fold in the center, then push in the sides to make them valley folds, then collapse down that triangle, and then open up to squash down. And do the next one. Again, you're just going along creases that exist throughout the whole model. You do all the pre-creasing, and after that you never create another new crease. You just go along existing creases. So the more precisely you do the pre-creasing steps, and the stronger the creases are that you pre-crease, the easier it will be to do all the collapsing. And that was the final one. And then you turn around the paper, the finished model, and that's what you get. You have your clover folding with 3 stages